February 2nd. All right. I realize I'm a bit early, but that's all right. I'm going to kind of wait until we see people come in. We have been having severe internet problems, and last night we just couldn't do it. So we'll see how it goes tonight. Jill's not on because she took the kids skiing today. I decided not to go and stayed home, and I had some things to do around here that were kind of pressing. So did that. I'm going to wait until we get a few people come in. All right. Well, we got one, so we must be working okay. Seems like it's working okay. Give me a heads up if you can hear me all right, and if we're going to be able to press on with this tonight. Give me a heads up. Just somebody tell me if you can hear me. Hi, Sarah. I wonder if you guys are coming out in March. Sean, how are you? All right, great. All right, normally Wednesday is Wellness Wednesday, but not today. So you don't have to be well today. Today's not Wellness Wednesday. All right, Honey's with us. All right, great. Well, maybe it'll work. I have a procedure if this goes down that I'm supposed to hit this one here, and that's about all I can do. But if it's going to work, it's going to work, and that would be great. So as I said, Jill took the kids skiing today, and my son Sam is home from the Air Force, and so Keith is home. And so the 4 or 5 of them went up skiing and left me and Rachel home. So Rachel didn't want to. Actually, Rachel had homeschool day. She had her homeschool co-op today. And I had stuff to do here that just was kind of that I'd since Sam's been around. We've just been doing a lot of visiting, a lot of really long meal times and stuff like that. So, all right, Jack, welcome. Keith. I'll tell you one thing I haven't been doing today is I haven't been keeping up on what's going on in the world. I guess as soon as I said to myself, no, I'm going to invest in myself, I've been focused on investing in myself. So things been pulling me away. Let's see. What did I do today? We beef yesterday, and that's kind of butcher's term for we butchered a cow yesterday. And there was some questions that came up. Let's see. Maybe Jill put them in here for me. No. All right. Well, seeing as how we're not going to do Wellness Wednesday, well, maybe I can do a little bit of Wellness Wednesday. Here's where I'm at. Does anybody care how my diet is going? Does it care? Does anybody care a bit? Well, here you go. I went carnivore last March, right? March? Yeah, it was March. And it just so happens I was working in the butcher shop, cutting up a beef, and I listened to a podcast, Sean Baker. He's a MD, and he's the ringleader there at the Meat RX. Now, it's not called Meat anymore. It's called anyway, it's not Meat RX, but it's a bunch of people that come together and talk about being carnivores. And I was listening to it as I was cutting up a beef because I was going to be interviewed by him. And as I heard a lot of the testimonies from people that were around my age that had gone carnivore, a lot of the things that I just thought were normal about being 60, had subsided. They had them way worse than I did, of course. But I thought, I'm going to try this because, some things were not advertised, right? So I went carnivore, and I did it solid for months, and it was a tremendous experience, really tremendous experience. And then in the summertime, when vegetables started coming into the garden, and raspberries and strawberries and corn on the cob and stuff, I kind of thought, well, let's see what happens. And I got to tell you, it wasn't as good. It wasn't as good, but the pleasure I got from eating corn on the cob, I figured was worth it. But then we got on to pig season. So it would have been about December, I guess, and we ran out of beef. Totally ran out of beef. And I think that happened because a lot of it got sold out of the freezer to people that needed it without beef. So, well, we're butchering pigs. So I started eating pork. And our pork was high quality, good tasting. But it was not the same. It is not the same fuel going in this tank anyway, So we're not all the same. I did not get the performance out of it. I just didn't, I wasn't as on. I wasn't as spry. I wasn't bouncing out of bed in the morning. Actually, if I eat it, it kind of gives me a little bit of indigestion. So yesterday when we butchered that beef, it's she was a Holstein, and I guess she was 2.5 years old. Jill said in a post that she was 3 years old, being 2.5, but I know she did graze for 2 summers here. So I was really surprised how big she was. I didn't get a weight on her. We just didn't bother weighing her. We could have. I have a crane scale, but I didn't do it. She was big. We butchered a lot of big beef around here, and she was big. And last night was on towards dinner time. Jill said, well, I can make you, we have some leftover this, and I can make that, and we have some pork. And I said, I really feel like I want to have beef. I really want beef. But I mean, none of it's aged. It wasn't even cooled yet. But I went down there and I cut a steak off of one of the tenderloins with a lot of fat on it. And I even took some of the fat with me, brought it up here, and I fried it before the show. And it was a chunk. And the thing about beef for me, when I started doing it on a omnivore diet, my coach, Amanda, told me, you need to eat this your job. And that's really easy because I've been working all my life. And so when it's my job, I do it. So I usually cook frying pan, and I'm just cooking it. And then when I'm done, I'm cutting it off, letting it cool off a little bit, get some salt on it, and then bang, I'm eating it, right? I did that last night. And last night, I actually slept pretty good until probably about 4. And then I just woke up and it was like, I'm ready to get up. Not sleep up. But there's nothing to do at 4 o'clock. I'm not going to turn lights on and get the coffee going and stuff way too early. So I sat around for a little while. I read some stuff and I got a little groggy. So I went back to bed and then I slept 30. So yeah, it was all right. I had steak for lunch, and usually on the carnivore diet for me, the way I did it last time, it worked out good, is I would eat as much steak as I could, or beef as I could, once a day, and then I was good to go. Anything else. But, since I've been off of it or sliding a little bit, substituting beef and chicken for beef and a little bit of other stuff here and there, I just didn't feel good. I mean, you can't tell or anything, and I don't walk around with a cloth on my head or anything, but I just didn't feel as good on beef as I felt going into last spring. I was just an animal. So, and I lost stones too. Now, that has a lot to do with it because you're lugging that around, so it wears you down. But today, about 6 o'clock, I was hungry, and so I went down to the shop and I cut off some more. Fried, stood right there, ate it, jumped on the tractor, did the rest of my chores, got a bunch of firewood, brought it in, and here I am. So I just think that's kind of interesting. The whole carnivore diet, to me, it kind of makes sense. I was telling you last night, maybe I shouldn't say this because I promote pigs quite a bit. I really do. I think it's a balance. But for me, I am primarily beef. Really, I'm primarily beef. And second is chicken, and third is pork. And it didn't used to be that way. I used to be pork first, especially Mangalitsa. But maybe it's because I've been eating so much of it lately, I'm just kind of wore out on it. But I honestly, I probably won't eat any until the next class that we do, which is going to be in March, which I think there's one seat available, you guys. I think there's one seat for that class. Can you believe that? Unbelievable. And I got a text message today from Jill as she was, I guess Sam was driving on the way out there and to the mountain to go skiing, or the hill, or whatever you want to call it. It's not really a mountain. But she said, what will it take for you to put together a curriculum for a homestead beef harvest? And I, once the question's asked of me, I start thinking of it, and I start thinking of the processes. And I guess I could write down bullet statements. This is what you need. This is some of the stuff that'd be nice, but you don't absolutely need it. It's a homestead beef harvest, so everybody doesn't have a motor. Everybody doesn't have a big forklift to hang a beef off. So it's got to be a way to do it without all that stuff. I'm really fortunate. I was on a trip to South America, Bolivia, to be exact. And this would have been back in 90, maybe 99, maybe 2000. Anyway, and I was at a place one time where I could see a market, and I would watch the people that were at this market, and I would see this man that came. I happened to be there for two different consecutive weeks. And this man, the first time I didn't see it because I just happened to miss it. But the second time I was looking directly at this man, and I watched him, and he walked a cow down. These are the ones with the horns. They kind of look like Brahmas. They were draft animals that were just wore out. And he walked it down to his spot on the road where they were, fruits, vegetables, and anything else that they were selling in Bolivia. And he took a sledgehammer and whacked that thing right between the eyes. And down it went. And then a bunch of the Bolivianos came over and helped him with it. They got it turned up on its back and wedged cordwood underneath the back hips and the shoulders. And he went to work on it. So like that big rack, that big set of horns actually stabilized the animal right there on its back. And this is just a dusty street. And he took a knife and starts opening up the hide. The hide drops down. He's actually standing on the hide. Then he opens the animal up and starts to remove the pieces. The way we do it is we lift it up and we dump everything out, but he starts removing the pieces. As he's removing it, it's going onto a table, and there's somebody there that's preparing it, cutting it all up, and people are coming by and buying it right there, as it's being cut up warm. This is in, it was their winter. It was our summer, I think, when I went down there. Yeah, it was our summer. But it was still hot as can be. And by the time he was done with that animal, he had bones, he had some hoofs, and then the hide was laying flat. There were some parts of the guts that I apparently didn't use, but I do remember that they opened the stomach up and they were going in with their hands and taking all the chewed grass out, and that was going in containers, and it went someplace too. I wasn't sure at the time what they did with that, but I've seen stuff since then that Eskimos, when they shoot animals in, the tundra or wherever up by the Arctic Circle, first thing they're going after is what's in the stomach of that animal, because it's actually fermenting in there, and they'll just get out and eat it. Isn't that something? Yeah. And then the fat is next, and then the lean is after that. So the things are kind of turned around. Here we seem to think, oh, we eat lean only and not too much fat, but that's not what I did today. I took some really nice pieces of fat and I ate them, and I feel so much better. I really do. I really feel better. And as I did that, I said, you know what? I'm going to quit eating all the garbage I've been eating, because I've been kind of like, I don't have any beef. I'm always kind of a little edgy, kind of hungry, and oh well, when I get some beef, I'll go back on my diet. And so, there'll be something that somebody's made, and well, okay, I'll just eat it, But I'll tell you what, yesterday, it probably was the biggest I had. Jill made a loaf of bread, right? It comes out, the whole house is full of that smell. And then she's sawing that off there. And there's that big tub of Jersey butter sitting just about orange. And I thought, oh, I got to have a piece of that bread. Like, can I have a piece of that bread? Right over to me. All this butter on it, Everybody's eating it. Made it because Sam's home, and Sam really likes bread. And I bit into that. Oh, he's so good. It was so good that I said, I think I'll have another. And then somebody buttered a third piece there. Everybody kind of went about what they were doing. I said, oh, I can't let that go to waste. Can I? And I ate that too. So I ate 3 pieces of bread, and this is big bread with a lot of butter on it. Maybe that's grace, but right about bedtime last night, I felt like I had about 6 beers and slept on it. That's how I felt. I felt bad. I had a headache. And then when I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I had a vicious hangover. It was like a hangover, like I had drank, I can't tolerate that anymore. Not at all. I can't even have 2 beers. I don't drink. If I have any alcohol, I can't. So it's just not good for me. It's not good for anybody. So I'll let that go. I'd much rather be doing other things. So I'm back on my beef diet, and that's where I'm going to stay as long as I possibly can. Maybe it'd be a cyclical thing.